Picture this. It's 2:47 a.m. in a San Francisco apartment. A senior software engineer, let's call him Marcus, sits in front of 3 glowing monitors. He's been debugging the same authentication system for 6 hours. His eyes burn. His coffee's gone cold. He's one syntax error away from a breakdown. Then he does something he swore he'd never do. He opens an AI coding assistant, types in his problem, presses enter. 15 seconds later, the AI spits out a solution. Perfect, elegant, production ready. Marcus stares at the screen. Relief floods through him, followed immediately by something darker, something cold, a thought he can't unthink. If this AI just saved me 6 hours, how long until it saves my company, my entire salary? Welcome to the silent extinction event happening right now in the software engineering world. Not with explosions or headlines, not with protests or union strikes, but with a quiet, elegant efficiency that feels almost polite. According to a 2024 report by McKinsey, generative AI could automate up to 45% of current software development tasks within the next 3 years. GitHub's own data shows that AI-assisted coding tools are now used by over 92% of developers under 30. And venture capital, it's flooding into companies that promise to replace entire engineering teams with AI agents that code while you sleep. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. This isn't just about automation. This isn't about a tool making you faster. This is about the fundamental question of what happens when the thing you spent years mastering, algorithms, data structures, design patterns, system architecture, can now be replicated by something that doesn't need sleep, doesn't need equity, and doesn't complain about work-life balance. Software engineering was supposed to be the safe job, the future-proof career, the golden ticket to economic security in the 21st century. Parents pushed their kids toward computer science degrees. Boot camps multiplied like rabbits. Learn to code, they said. You'll always have work. And for 2 decades, they were right. Until now. Because something shifted. Not gradually, but suddenly. Like a tectonic plate slipping beneath the ocean, invisible until the tsunami hits the shore. In 2023, a Y Combinator-backed startup called Cognition AI unveiled Devin, an AI software engineer that could complete entire Upwork jobs autonomously. Real projects, real clients, real money. No human engineer required. That same year, Google's internal AI passed their own hiring bar for an entry-level engineering position. Think about that. The same test that thousands of human candidates fail every year? The AI passed, and then came the layoffs. Meta, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, tens of thousands of engineers let go, not because the companies were failing, but because AI made their code bases more efficient. Fewer bugs, less maintenance, smaller teams. We're doing more with less, the executives said. What they meant was, we need fewer of you. But this chapter isn't about the corporations. It's about you, the person watching this. Maybe you're a software engineer feeling that cold dread for the first time. Maybe you're a student wondering if your degree will be worthless by graduation. Or maybe you're a parent, terrified that the career path you mapped out for your child is collapsing in real time. The truth is brutal and beautiful at the same time. Software engineering as we know it is dying. But something else, something we can't yet fully see, is being born. The question isn't whether AI will replace software engineers. It already is. The question is what comes next, and whether you'll be ready when it does. Here's what we know. The patterns are unmistakable. Junior positions are vanishing first. Bootcamp graduates can't find work. Entry-level postings are down 67% year-over-year in major tech hubs. The ladder that a generation climbed to 6-figure salaries The bottom rungs are being sawed off. But it's not just the juniors. Senior engineers are feeling it too. The ones who thought their experience made them untouchable. AI doesn't care about your 10 years at FANG. It doesn't care about your architecture decisions or your deep understanding of distributed systems. It just needs the pattern. And if your job is mostly pattern recognition, reading requirements, translating them to code, debugging, optimizing, then you're already in the crosshairs. There's a famous thought experiment in AI safety called the paperclip maximizer. An AI designed to make paperclips become so efficient at its task that it eventually converts all matter in the universe into paperclips. It's not evil. It's not malicious. It's just optimizing. Now replace paperclips with code output. The AI doesn't hate you. It doesn't want your job. It just writes code, faster, cheaper, endlessly. And in a capitalist system that worships efficiency above all else, what do you think happens next? Marcus, our 2:47 a.m. engineer, he's not a metaphor. He's real. I talked to him, and he told me something that's haunted me ever since. I used to love coding. It was like solving puzzles, creating something from nothing. But now, every time I open my IDE, I feel like I'm competing against a ghost that never gets tired, never makes mistakes, and costs my company a fraction of what I do. He paused, then added, "The worst part, I'm training it. Every time I use the AI assistant, I'm teaching it how to replace me." That's the paradox. The tool that makes you more productive today is the same tool learning to make you obsolete tomorrow. So here we are, standing at the edge of a precipice. On one side, everything we built, everything we believed about the value of technical skill, everything we told ourselves about being irreplaceable. On the other side, a future we can barely recognize. And the ground beneath our feet, it's already crumbling. Welcome to the core of the problem. What makes this job safe or doomed? Let's talk about what's actually happening. Not the theory, not the speculation. The cold, documented reality of how AI is systematically dismantling the software engineering profession, one pattern at a time. Start here. A Bloomberg report from March 2024 revealed that job postings for entry-level software developers dropped by 67% compared to the previous year. But here's the twist. Total code output from these same companies, it increased by 34%. More code, fewer humans. The math is brutal. Duolingo, the language learning app with the friendly green owl, made headlines when they laid off 10% of their contractor workforce and replaced them with AI. Not because the humans were bad at their jobs, but because GPT-4 could do the same work in a fraction of the time. Luis von Ahn, the CEO, didn't sugarcoat it. "We're a technology company. We use the best technology available." Translation: if you can be replaced, you will be. Then there's Shopify. In a leaked internal memo, their CTO wrote that they expect to reduce their engineering headcount by 20-30% over the next 2 years, not through layoffs, but through strategic attrition. They'll simply stop hiring, let people leave naturally, let AI fill the gaps. It's happening quietly, politely, with HR language designed to avoid panic. But the pattern? It's screaming. Here's what the pattern looks like. AI excels at anything rule-based, repetitive, or pattern matching. And guess what? Most software engineering, maybe 60-70% of it, is exactly that. Front-end development, creating responsive layouts, implementing design systems, handling form validation. AI tools like v0.dev and Veercells AI can generate production-ready React components from a simple text description. What used to take a junior developer 3 days now takes 17 seconds. Back-end CRUD operations, building REST APIs, managing database schemas, implementing authentication. GitHub Copilot writes boilerplate faster than you can think it, and tools like Supabase and Firebase have automated so much of the backend that the traditional backend developer role is quietly vanishing. Even QA and testing, jobs we thought were sacred, are being devoured. AI can generate test cases, identify edge cases, and run regression testing continuously. Selenium scripts that took hours to write, AI does it in minutes. If your job follows a pattern, AI can replicate it, faster, cheaper, and endlessly. I spoke with Jennifer Wong, a former engineering manager at Stripe. She told me something that made my blood run cold. We used to have a team of 8 engineers maintaining our payment reconciliation system. Complex stuff. Thousands of edge cases, multiple currencies, regulatory compliance. Last year, we rebuilt the entire system using AI-assisted development. Same functionality, better performance. 3 engineers, 4 months. I asked what happened to the other 5 engineers. She looked away. Reassigned. Which is corporate speak for, we found other work for now, but we're not replacing them when they leave. The playbook is consistent across companies. Phase 1 is AI augmentation, making engineers more productive. Everyone celebrates. Efficiency soars. Then comes Phase 2, right-sizing, realizing you need fewer engineers to produce the same output. The layoffs are framed as restructuring or strategic realignment, never as replacement. But everyone knows. Andrej Karpathy, former director of AI at Tesla and one of the most respected voices in the field, said in a 2024 interview, "The traditional software engineer role, writing code according to specifications, will be extinct within 5 years. Not diminished, extinct. The job will fundamentally transform into something else. Something else. But what?" Let's look at the data from Hired.com's 2024 State of Software Engineering report. The median time to hire for junior engineers increased from 21 days in 2022 to 89 days in 2024. Translation: companies are desperate to avoid hiring juniors. They'd rather overwork their senior engineers or deploy AI than onboard someone new. And when they do hire, they're looking for a different profile. Not, can you code, but can you prompt? Can you architect? Can you think in systems while AI handles implementation? The job descriptions are changing. Look at what Google posted last month for a software engineering role. Experience with large language models, prompt engineering, and AI-assisted development required. Traditional coding skills secondary. Read that again. Traditional coding skills secondary. It's not subtle anymore. Upwork and Fiverr, platforms where millions of freelance developers built their careers, are now flooded with AI service providers. $50 for a full-stack web app delivered in 24 hours. How? AI does 90% of the work. A human just supervises. The freelance developers who used to charge $100 an hour, they're competing against AI agents that cost $20 a month with unlimited usage. You can't win a race against something that doesn't get tired. Stack Overflow, the sacred forum where developers have shared knowledge for over a decade, saw traffic drop by 35% in 2024. Why ask a human when ChatGPT answers instantly? Why scroll through forum posts when Claude can debug your code in real time? The community that built the profession is quietly dying because AI is a better, faster teacher. Even the elite aren't safe. I talked to a former principal engineer at Amazon, 15 years of experience, led teams of 50, designed systems serving billions of requests. He was laid off in February 2024. When he applied to other FAANG companies, he got rejected. Not because he wasn't qualified, but because they're all doing the same math. AI is cheaper. He's now driving for Uber while pivoting into AI consulting. His words, not mine. and the bitterness in his voice was palpable. I built systems that printed money for Amazon, and they replaced me with a ridiculous algorithm that doesn't even understand what it's doing. That's the rage you don't see in the LinkedIn posts. The sanitized, excited for my next chapter updates. Underneath, terror, humiliation, the existential horror of being made obsolete. But here's the part that should scare you most. This is just the beginning. The AI we have now, GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, they're impressive, but they're crude, clumsy. They make mistakes. They need human supervision. For now, OpenAI's internal projections suggest that within 18 to 24 months, their models will be able to autonomously complete the majority of tasks currently done by mid-level engineers. Not assist, complete, from requirements to deployment. DeepMind's AlphaCode 2 already solves competitive programming problems at a code forces rating that beats 85% of human competitors. These aren't simple fizz-buzz problems. These are algorithmic challenges that require genuine problem solving, and it's getting better, exponentially. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, said something revealing in a podcast last year. People ask me if AI will take jobs. That's the wrong question. AI will eliminate entire categories of work, and yes, software engineering is one of them. Not because engineers aren't valuable, but because the work itself will be absorbed into the AI. He said it casually, like he was talking about the weather. That's what we're facing. Not replacement by robots, but absorption. The work you do simply becomes a feature inside an AI model. Your expertise, your patterns, your solutions, all compressed into weights and parameters that can be instantiated infinitely. You don't get replaced, you get dissolved. The pattern is clear now, isn't it? Junior jobs vanish first, freelance markets collapse, entry-level salaries stagnate, hiring freezes, strategic attrition. Then the mid-levels start feeling it. Slower promotions, increased pressure. Vague talk about doing more with less. And at the top, even the architects and staff engineers are starting to sweat, because AI is coming for system design too. It's learning to optimize architectures, identify bottlenecks, propose solutions. The latter isn't just losing its bottom rungs, the whole structure is corroding. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Really feel it. If you're a software engineer, imagine waking up tomorrow and every job posting requiring 5+ years of AI prompt engineering experience. Imagine your carefully cultivated skills. React, Python, distributed systems, whatever you specialized in, suddenly worth a fraction of what they were. Imagine being told you're overqualified because companies want someone who costs less and asks fewer questions. Imagine being 45 with a mortgage, 2 kids, and the dawning realization that the profession you devoted your life to is evaporating. That's not science fiction. That's happening right now to tens of thousands of engineers. So, what happens to those who refuse to adapt? But here's the thing about extinction events. They're never the end of the story. They're just the violent, chaotic middle chapter before something new emerges. Let me take you back. England, 1811. A man named Ned Ludd, probably fictional but the symbol was real, became the face of a movement. The Luddites, textile workers who smashed the mechanical looms that were stealing their livelihoods. They weren't stupid. They weren't technophobic. They were terrified. And they were right to be. Those machines did destroy their jobs. Weaving, spinning, knitting. Skills passed down through generations. Rendered obsolete in a decade. The Luddites lost. The machines won. But here's what the history books often skip. What came after? Yes, those specific jobs died. But the Industrial Revolution didn't end human work. It transformed it. It created factory managers, machine operators, mechanical engineers, logistics coordinators, industrial designers. Jobs that didn't exist before the machines. Jobs that required different skills but still needed human judgment, creativity, and adaptability. The weavers who adapted, they thrived. The ones who didn't, history forgot them. Fast forward to 1995, the internet is exploding. Bookstores are panicking. Travel agents see the writing on the wall. Newspaper classified ads, a billion-dollar industry, start their slow death march. Blockbuster laughed at Netflix. Kodak invented the digital camera, then buried it because they were afraid of cannibalizing film sales. Borders Books refused to build an online store because they didn't believe in e-commerce. Where are they now? Dead. Bankrupt. Case studies in business school about the cost of refusing to adapt. But the people who saw the internet not as a threat, but as a canvas, they built Amazon, Google, Facebook, entire industries that employ millions. Jobs that didn't exist in 1994, social media manager, SEO specialist, app developer, podcast producer, YouTube creator, digital marketer. The pattern repeats. The technology destroys. Then it creates. But, and this is crucial, it doesn't create the same jobs for the same people. It creates different jobs for those willing to transform. This is what Joseph Schumpeter called creative destruction, the economic cycle where innovation simultaneously destroys old industries and births new ones. It's not gentle, it's not fair, but it's been the engine of human progress for centuries, and we're in the middle of it right now. So let's talk about what's being born while software engineering, as we knew it, dies. First, understand this. AI isn't replacing the need for technical thinking. It's replacing the mechanical execution of that thinking. The boring parts, the repetitive parts, the parts that follow predictable patterns. What it can't replace, not yet, maybe not ever, is the why, the vision, the taste, the ability to understand what problem is worth solving in the first place. Let me show you what I mean. Meet Sarah Chen. She was a mid-level front-end developer at a startup in Austin, good at her job, not exceptional. When her company started using AI coding assistants in 2023, she felt the walls closing in. Junior developers were suddenly as productive as she was. Her value proposition was eroding. She had two choices, panic or pivot. She pivoted. Sarah realized something crucial. If AI could write code, then the bottleneck wasn't technical implementation anymore. It was understanding what to build, translating messy human needs into clear technical requirements. That skill, empathy combined with technical literacy, that's what AI couldn't do. So she retrained. UX research, product management, customer interviews. She learned to bridge the gap between users and technology. Within 18 months, she was leading product strategy at a Series B startup, making 40% more than she did as an engineer. Her secret? She stopped competing with AI on AI's terms. She leaned into what made her human. Or look at Marcus. Remember him from the beginning? The 2:47 a.m. debugger who felt like he was training his replacement. He went a different direction. He realized that if AI could generate code, someone needed to verify it, audit it, ensure it wasn't creating security vulnerabilities or technical debt. So he specialized in AI code review and prompt engineering architecture. Now he consults for companies implementing AI-assisted development, teaching teams how to use AI effectively while maintaining code quality. He's making more money than he ever did as a traditional engineer. The jobs aren't disappearing, they're mutating. Here's what the new landscape looks like. AI wranglers, people who can speak both human and machine, who understand how to prompt, guide, and constrain AI systems to produce what's actually needed. It's part engineering, part psychology, part art direction. System Architects 2.0. Not people who write code, but people who design systems where AI and humans collaborate. They understand the strengths and blind spots of both. They know when to trust the machine and when to override it. AI ethicists and safety experts. As AI systems make more decisions, someone needs to ensure they don't go off the rails. This isn't about coding. It's about understanding context, bias, edge cases, and human values. It requires technical knowledge, but also philosophy, ethics, and deep empathy. Domain specialists with technical literacy. Healthcare workers who can guide medical AI. Lawyers who can leverage legal AI. Teachers who can deploy educational AI. The magic isn't in pure technical skill anymore. It's in combining domain expertise with enough technical understanding to guide the machines. Creative technologists, people who use AI as a brush, not a replacement. They generate 1,000 variations, then curate the one with soul. They see AI as an amplifier of human creativity, not a substitute for it. These jobs are emerging right now. Monster.com and LinkedIn show a 340% increase in job postings, mentioning AI collaboration, prompt engineering, and human AI workflows compared to 2 years ago. The companies that are thriving aren't the ones that replaced humans with AI. They're the ones that figured out how to make humans and AI work together, each doing what they're best at. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This transformation requires something from you. It requires letting go of your identity as a software engineer and embracing something broader and more ambiguous. Someone who solves problems using technology. That shift, from craftsman to conductor, from coder to orchestrator, it's psychologically brutal. You spent years mastering a skill, you built your self-worth around it, and now you're being told that skill is becoming a commodity. It feels like betrayal, like the world moved the goalposts after you'd already won the game. But there's another way to see it. Think about chess. When Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov in 1997, people thought it was the death of chess as a human endeavor. Why play if machines are better? But something unexpected happened. Chess didn't die. It evolved. Freestyle chess emerged. Human AI teams competing against other human AI teams. And the best performers? They weren't the strongest chess players or the best computers. They were average players who excelled at collaborating with AI, who knew when to trust the algorithm and when to override it with human intuition. The same thing is happening in software engineering. The future isn't humans or AI, it's humans with AI, but only for those willing to learn the dance. I talked to Dr. Fei Li, the legendary Stanford AI researcher, and she said something that stuck with me. Every technological revolution looks like an ending when you're standing in the middle of it, but from a distance, there are always beginnings. The question isn't whether AI will change your work, it's whether you'll change with it. Here's what gives me hope. Humans are extraordinarily good at adaptation. We're not the fastest species, not the strongest. We don't have claws or venom or armor. What we have is neuroplasticity, the ability to learn, to reinvent ourselves, to find new roles in new ecosystems. The software engineers who will thrive in the next decade aren't the ones who write the most elegant code. They're the ones who cultivate curiosity, empathy, and the ability to learn continuously. They're the ones who see AI as a collaborator, not a competitor. They're the ones who remember that technology serves human needs, and someone still needs to understand those needs deeply enough to guide the machines. There's a beautiful quote from Kevin Kelly, founder of Wired magazine. The business plans of the next 10,000 startups are easy to forecast. Take X and add AI. This is a big opportunity because the potential for AI technology is huge, and much of it will be deployed by the thousands of people who figure out how to apply it. Read that again. Deployed by thousands of people, not replaced by AI. Deployed by humans who learn to wield it. Every machine replaces a task, but never a dream. The dream of building something meaningful. The dream of solving problems that matter. The dream of using your mind to shape the world. That doesn't die. It just needs new tools. And maybe, just maybe, that's not a tragedy. Maybe it's liberation. Liberation from the drudgery of boilerplate code, from debugging the same stupid errors for the 10th time, from implementing yet another CRUD API that a machine could do in its sleep. Maybe AI is freeing us to focus on what we should have been doing all along, thinking bigger, dreaming bolder, solving problems that actually require human insight. The engineers who get this, who lean into it rather than resist it, they're not just surviving, they're thriving. Because here's the secret. In every transition, there's a window. A brief moment where those who move early have a massive advantage, before the path is crowded, before the competition catches up. We're in that window right now. The question is, will you step through it? Every machine replaces a task, but never a dream. Okay? Enough philosophy, enough history lessons. You're watching this because you need answers. Practical, actionable steps, a map through the chaos. So let's build one. This is your survival playbook, not survival as in barely hanging on. Survival as in thriving in the age of AI, as in positioning yourself so far ahead of the curve that when the dust settles, you're not scrambling for scraps, you're defining the new rules. Here's the framework. 4 steps. Memorize them. Audit, adapt, build, own. Let's break it down. Step 1. Audit your job. First, you need brutal honesty, not the kind you give in performance reviews, the kind you give yourself at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. Sit down, take out a piece of paper, or open a document, whatever, and answer these questions. What percentage of my work is pattern-based? Be honest. If you're writing CRUD endpoints, building standard UI components, fixing predictable bugs, implementing features from detailed specs, that's pattern-based work. And pattern-based work is AI's sweet spot. If 70% or more of your job is pattern-based, you're in the danger zone. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. What do I do that requires genuine human judgment? Not just technical judgment. AI is getting scary good at that. I mean, human judgment. Understanding ambiguous requirements, negotiating between competing stakeholder needs, making ethical decisions about user privacy, knowing when to push back on a bad idea. That's the stuff AI can't replicate. Yet. What skills do I have that are adjacent to coding? Can you explain technical concepts to non-technical people? That's valuable. Can you understand business metrics and connect them to technical decisions? That's gold. Do you have domain knowledge? Healthcare, finance, education, logistics. That's your moat. Write it all down. Because here's the thing. The audit isn't about making you feel bad. It's about identifying your leverage. The unique combination of skills that makes you irreplaceable, or at least very expensive to replace. I talked to David Yang, a former Google engineer who now runs an AI consulting firm. He told me, most engineers I meet have skills they don't even recognize as valuable. They can translate between technical and business language. They understand user psychology. They've seen patterns across multiple projects. But they think the only thing that matters is coding ability. That's the trap. So audit yourself. Find the skills you've been ignoring because they didn't feel technical enough. Those skills, they're about to become your most valuable assets. Step 2. Adapt. Learn to use AI as a tool, not as a threat. Here's the paradox. The engineers who refuse to use AI because they're scared of it. They're the ones who get replaced first. The engineers who embrace AI, they become 10x more productive. And productivity buys you time, time to learn, time to pivot, time to build leverage. Stop thinking of AI as your replacement. Start thinking of it as your intern, an incredibly fast, tireless intern who's great at patterns but terrible at judgment. Here's how. Master prompt engineering. Not just, how do I get ChatGPT to write code, but real prompt engineering. How to structure context, how to iterate, how to constrain outputs, how to chain prompts together to build complex systems. This sounds trivial. It's not. The difference between someone who's mediocre at prompting and someone who's excellent? It's the difference between getting 60% useful output and 95% useful output. That gap is massive. There are courses, Anthropic's documentation, OpenAI's guides, Simon Willison's blog. Spend a weekend learning this properly. It'll pay back 100x. Learn what AI is bad at. This is just as important as knowing what it's good at. AI hallucinates. It makes confident mistakes. It doesn't understand context deeply. It can't handle novel situations well. It struggles with security implications and edge cases, so your job becomes verification, quality control, knowing when the AI's output is brilliant and when it's dangerously wrong. That's a skill, a valuable one. Use AI to escape the grunt work. Let it write boilerplate. Let it generate tests. Let it refactor legacy code. Let it do the stuff that makes you want to quit programming. Then use the time you save to do the work that matters. The work that requires creativity, strategy, and vision. I know an engineer, Rachel Kim, works at a fintech startup who told me she now spends about 30% of her time writing code and 70% designing systems, mentoring junior devs, and working with product teams. AI handles most of the implementation. She handles everything else. Her title changed from senior engineer to engineering lead. Her salary increased by 50%. Her job satisfaction? Through the roof. That's adaptation, not fighting the tide. Riding it. Step 3. Build. This is the part most engineers miss. They focus on skills but forget about leverage. Skills make you employable. Leverage makes you indispensable. So build something. Not a to-do app, not another weather app. Build something that demonstrates your unique value in the age of AI. Here are 3 paths. Path A. Build AI-powered tools for a niche you understand. Do you have domain expertise? Use it. Build an AI assistant for dentists, or real estate agents, or supply chain managers, or immigration lawyers. Pick a field where you have inside knowledge and build something that solves a real problem using AI. Why? Because generic AI tools are already commoditized. But AI tools that understand domain-specific workflows? Those are gold. And they require someone who understands both the technology and the domain. Path B. Build a portfolio that shows human-AI collaboration. Don't just show that you can code. Show that you can orchestrate. Build a project where you used AI for the heavy lifting, but applied human judgment for architecture, UX, and ethical decisions. Document your process. Write about how you prompted the AI, what worked, what didn't, how you iterated. That documentation, it's more valuable than the code itself because it shows you understand the meta skill of working with AI. Path C. Build an audience. This sounds tangential, but it's not. Start a blog, a YouTube channel, a newsletter. Share what you're learning about AI and engineering. Teach others. Why? Because in a world where technical skills are commoditizing, communication skills are appreciating. If you can explain complex topics clearly, if you can build trust with an audience, if you can establish yourself as someone who understands the transition we're going through, that's leverage. Look at people like Fireship, Theo, or Prime. They're engineers, yes, but they're also educators and communicators. And they're thriving because they built leverage that goes beyond code. Pick one of these paths, then execute. Don't overthink it. Build messy. Build imperfectly. Just build something that you can point to and say, "This is what I bring to the table in 2025. Step 4. Own. This is the end game, the ultimate form of security in an age of automation. Own the problem. Own the solution. Own the relationship with the customer. Stop being a code monkey in someone else's machine. Start being the architect of your own value. What does that look like? Option 1. Become a founder. Use AI to build products you couldn't have built alone. The barriers to entry for solo founders are collapsing. You can build, launch, and scale products with a fraction of the resources that were required 5 years ago. Find a problem. Build a solution. Own the upside. Option 2. Become a consultant. Companies are drowning in AI tools but starving for implementation wisdom. They need someone who can come in, assess their needs, deploy the right AI solutions, and train their teams. That could be you. Option 3. Own equity, not just salary. If you're going to work for someone else, negotiate for ownership. Equity. Profit sharing. Something that gives you a piece of the upside. Because if you're just trading time for money, you're playing a losing game. AI will eventually beat you on cost. But if you own a piece of something valuable, that's compounding. That's leverage. That's how you win. I met a guy named Alex Torres, former engineer at Uber. He left in 2023, terrified about AI, but instead of job hunting, he started a micro SaaS business using no-code tools and AI. Revenue in year 1, $180K. Year 2, $420K. He's not hiring engineers. AI does most of the technical work. He focuses on customers, marketing, and strategy. He owns it, all of it. That's the dream, right? Not to be the smartest coder, but to be the person who understands what needs to be built and has the tools to build it. AI is just one of those tools. Here's the brutal truth. The playbook I just gave you, it's not optional. It's not nice to have. It's survival. The engineers who audit themselves, adapt their skills, build leverage, and own their value. They'll be fine, better than fine. They'll thrive. The ones who keep their heads down, hoping the storm passes. They're going to wake up in 2 years and find themselves obsolete. Not because they're not smart, not because they're not hardworking, but because the game changed and they refused to learn the new rules. Adaptation isn't a sign of weakness. It's not surrender. It's evolution written in human code. And evolution, it's the only game in town. Let me leave you with this. There's a scene in The Shawshank Redemption where Andy Dufresne says, "Get busy living or get busy dying." That's where we are. The AI revolution isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's not pausing while you figure things out. It's accelerating, exponentially. So you have a choice. You can resist, complain, cling to the way things were, or you can adapt, learn, build, own. One path leads to irrelevance. The other, it leads somewhere new. Somewhere we can't fully see yet, but somewhere that needs people who are brave enough to step into uncertainty. Adaptation isn't just intelligence, it's survival written in human code. There's a moment in every transformation where you have to choose, not between good and evil, not between right and wrong, but between who you were and who you're becoming. This is that moment. Picture a river, fast-moving, powerful. You're standing on the bank, watching it rush past. You can see the current pulling everything downstream, trees, debris, the old world being swept away. You have 2 choices. You can plant your feet, dig in, resist. Tell yourself that rivers don't have the right to change the landscape, that the old way was better. that this shouldn't be happening, and you'll be right. About all of it. The old way was good. This is unfair. It shouldn't have to be this way. But the river doesn't care. And this is the terrifying, exhilarating option, you can step into the water, feel the current, learn to move with it instead of against it, use its power instead of fighting it. You can dance with the river. That's what this all comes down to. Not AI, not jobs, not technology, but you, and the choice you make about how you face change. Let me tell you about extinction. 66 million years ago, an asteroid hit Earth. The dinosaurs, creatures that had ruled the planet for 165 million years, were gone in a geological instant. But you know what survived? Small mammals. Scrappy, adaptable creatures that could eat different foods, live in different environments, and evolve quickly when conditions changed. The strong didn't survive, the adaptable did. Fast forward to today, the asteroid isn't made of rock, it's made of silicon and algorithms. And it's not destroying life, it's destroying certainty. The certainty that your skills will always be valuable, that your career path is secure, that hard work alone guarantees success. That certainty, it's gone, and it's not coming back. But here's the thing about extinction events. They're never total. They're selective. They eliminate species that can't adapt, but they create explosive opportunities for those that can. After the dinosaurs died, mammals inherited the Earth. They diversified into thousands of species. They conquered land, sea, and air. They eventually produced us, conscious beings capable of understanding our own evolution. The extinction event didn't end life. It accelerated it. It opened up ecological niches that had been locked shut for millions of years. Right now, we're living through an economic extinction event. The species being threatened, the job category of person who translates requirements into code using memorized patterns. But the niches opening up, they're vast, and they're waiting for people who understand that this moment isn't about preserving the past. It's about inventing the future. I want to take you back to Marcus. Remember him? The 2:47 a.m. engineer we met at the beginning. The one who felt like he was training his replacement every time he used an AI assistant. I talked to him again last week. He's different now, calmer, more focused. Not because his problems went away, but because he changed his relationship to them. He told me something that I think captures the essence of this transformation. I used to think my value was in what I knew, the languages I mastered, the frameworks I understood, the systems I could build from scratch. And when AI started doing those things, I felt like I was losing myself. But then I realized something. My value was never in the knowing. It was in the doing. And not even the doing itself, but the judgment behind the doing. When to build, what to build, why it matters, how it fits into the bigger picture. That's what I bring. That's what makes me human. He paused, then smiled. AI can write code, but it can't care. It can't feel the weight of a decision. It can't sit in a room with a frustrated user and truly understand why the software is failing them. That's still mine. That's still ours. That's the resolution. Not fighting the machines, not pretending they're not powerful, but recognizing that power and consciousness aren't the same thing. AI has power, incredible, world-changing power. But humans have something else. We have intention, purpose, the ability to ask not just, can we build this, but should we build this? We have love, the irrational, beautiful impulse to create things not because they're profitable, but because they matter, because they're ours, because they connect us to each other and to something larger than ourselves. We have curiosity, the restless drive to explore, to question, to push boundaries not for optimization, but for wonder. Those things, AI doesn't have them. Maybe it never will. Maybe that's not even the point. The point is, the future doesn't belong to the best coders. It belongs to the most human humans, the ones who can wield powerful tools while maintaining their connection to what matters, to why we build, to who we're building for. Here's what I've come to believe. This isn't a story about technology replacing humanity. It's a story about humanity being forced to rediscover what makes us irreplaceable. For decades, we've been able to coast on technical skills alone. Learn to code, follow the patterns, climb the ladder. It worked. It was safe. It was predictable. But safety is a trap. It makes us complacent. It lets us forget that being human isn't about executing patterns. It's about breaking them, creating them, reimagining them. AI is ripping away our ability to coast, and that's terrifying. But it's also, maybe, a gift. Because now we have to go deeper. We have to reconnect with creativity, empathy, and strategic thinking. We have to remember that engineering isn't just a job. It's a form of problem solving. And the best problem solvers aren't the ones with the most knowledge. They're the ones with the most wisdom. Knowledge is, I know how to implement a binary search tree. Wisdom is, I understand when a binary search tree is the right solution and when it's over-engineering. AI is phenomenal at knowledge, but wisdom, that requires living, failing, learning from context and nuance, and the messy, unpredictable reality of human needs. That's your edge. That's our edge. I want to end with a story, a metaphor, a way of seeing this moment that I hope stays with you. There's an old Zen koan about a monk who comes to his master and says, "Master, I'm terrified. I feel like I'm drowning in uncertainty. Everything I thought was solid is dissolving. What do I do?" And the master says, "Stop trying to stand. Learn to swim." That's it. That's the whole thing. You can't stand on ground that's dissolving. You can't cling to skills that are commoditizing. You can't resist a technological shift that's already happened. But you can learn to swim. You can accept that the water is here, that the current is strong, and that your survival depends not on your ability to fight it, but on your ability to move with it, gracefully, intentionally, with your humanity intact. So here's my final message to you. Whether you're a software engineer terrified about your future, a student wondering if your degree will be worthless, a parent scared for your child's career, an executive trying to navigate this transition, whoever you are, audit. Look honestly at where you are, what you're good at, what's at risk, what's protected. No denial, no sugarcoating, just truth. Adapt. Learn the new tools. Embrace AI as a collaborator. Develop the meta skills that matter. Communication, judgment, creativity, empathy. Become someone who works with AI, not someone who competes against it. Build. Create leverage. Start a project. Launch a product. Grow an audience. Make something that demonstrates your unique value. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Build now. Build messy. Build anyway. Own. Take control. Own equity. Own relationships. Own the outcome. Stop being a cog in someone else's machine and start being the architect of your own value. Audit. Adapt. Build. Own. That's the playbook. That's the path. That's how you turn extinction into evolution. And here's what I know. Humanity isn't ending. We're not being replaced. We're being challenged, forced to level up, pushed to become more fully ourselves. The software engineers who make it through this transition won't be the ones who wrote the best code in 2023. They'll be the ones who understood that code was never the point. Problem solving was. Value creation was. Making the world work better for the people in it. AI isn't killing software engineering. It's killing the illusion that software engineering was just about syntax and algorithms. What's being born? Something bigger, more human, more connected to purpose. We're moving from an era where technical skill was enough to an era where technical skill is the baseline, and everything else, all the messy, beautiful, irreducibly human stuff, becomes the differentiator. That shift is painful, but pain is just growth that hasn't finished yet. There's a quote from Leonard Cohen that I think about often. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. AI is the crack, the rupture in the old world, the thing that's breaking apart the comfortable certainty we built our lives on. But maybe, just maybe, that's how the light gets in. The light of creativity we'd buried under endless sprints. The light of curiosity we'd traded for job security. The light of human connection we'd sacrificed for technical excellence. Maybe this extinction event is actually an invitation to become more than we were, to build not just better software, but better futures for ourselves, for each other, for the generation coming after us. So here's my question for you, the only question that matters. When you look at this moment, this chaotic, uncertain, terrifying, exhilarating moment, do you see an ending, or do you see a beginning? Because I'll tell you what I see. I see engineers who are about to become more valuable than they've ever been, not in spite of AI, but because of it. I see people who are learning to wield godlike tools with human wisdom. I see a profession transforming from code monkeys into digital architects, from executors into visionaries. I see extinction happening. Yes, but I also see evolution. Right there, happening in real time. In every engineer who chooses to adapt instead of resist. In every person who looks at the river and decides to swim. Humanity isn't ending, it's just beginning again. So here's what I want you to do. Right now, before you click away from this video. Make a decision, not about your career, not about your skills, but about your mindset. Decide that you're not a victim of this transition, you're a participant. Decide that AI isn't your enemy, it's your catalyst. Decide that the future isn't something that happens to you, it's something you build. And then, this is the important part, take one action, just one. Today, audit one aspect of your job. Learn one new AI tool, start one project, write one blog post, send one message to someone who's further along this path than you are. One action. That's all it takes to start swimming, because here's the beautiful, terrible truth. The future is unwritten. The story doesn't have an ending yet. We're writing it, right now, with every choice we make, every skill we develop, every moment we choose adaptation over paralysis. Audit, adapt, build, own. Evolution isn't inevitable, but it's available. The water is here. The current is strong. Are you ready to swim? Subscribe if you believe in human evolution, not extinction. And remember, the best time to adapt was yesterday. The second best time is right now. The choice, as always, is yours. But the river isn't waiting.